Oh, thank you very much, Speaker. Look, I'm going to have to. I'll thank the members that made contributions, if you can call it that. The members for Coogee and member for Holsworthy. I did like your contribution. I thought it was very constructive. Member for Riverstone, he had a go. Member for Newtown, member for Kellyville, and the member for Leppington when he was able to speak in full sentences. But look, Mr. Speaker, I think the challenge that we've had here is that, a failure to meet the challenge. I set out at the beginning of the motion a few things that I predicted that they would do, and on all of them, they just fell straight into the trap. I mean, honestly, if ever there was an example of a group of people incapable of thinking for themselves, it's those opposite. They stood up here and they read through what they were doing, and as soon as they were taken off track, they were completely wayward. There was just no way of returning back to the motion. But look, I need to address a few things that were said in reply, particularly starting with Coogee, or the member for Coogee, who I understand is the Parliamentary Secretary. And she explained that she was privy to the correspondence that we all received. And that might explain why, perhaps for you, member for Kellyville, some of it takes so long, because she's in charge of those responses. But the reality is that the entire debate from the member for Coogee and the member for Riverstone was all looking backwards. The member for Riverstone did try, and I want to give him some credit for this, he did try and lay out a bit of a list of projects looking forward, but they were all roads. And I want to just remind the House that this motion at its core was about public transport. It wasn't about roads. And so having them list out a laundry list of different road projects that they've announced really isn't relevant to the motion. So I think that that's very typical, that they haven't been able to learn, they haven't been able to comprehend, and they just get up here and read the notes that they were given. That's very disappointing. Look, I want to say that the member for Newtown addressed a number of issues which I think are particularly valid in relation to some of her local challenges. And at its best, that's what this motion should have been about, trying to talk about the local challenges that we each experience in our various electorates. And they are unique and they are diverse, but one thing is consistent with all of our electorates is that you need a plan if you are to deliver for them. And that is what this motion has always been about. But when I look at the amendment that's been put forward by the member for Riverstone, once again, it's gone completely off track. No longer are we talking about plans for the future. What we're doing is looking backwards into the rearview mirror about what they believe that has been failed in the past and efforts to take credit for things that were already in the pipeline. That's not what the motion's about, and of course the opposition won't be supporting that amended motion because it completely lacks any sense of normality in a debate that should have been about what your Premier said just yesterday in the media. So, look, Mr. Speaker, I encourage all members to come in here and vote against this sort of pitiful amendment that's been put by the member for Riverstone. It's completely lost track of the motion. We're here to talk about public transport, not roads. We're here to talk about the future, not the past. We're here to talk about plans, not failure. And all you have sought to demonstrate through your display here has been an utter failure and contempt of this place and the state.